It's so cute.
It's like Miku.
Yeah, doesn't it?
The Last of Us. The Last of Us was a well-polished video game. The concept was based on the fungal parasites that infect insects, take them over, and in some cases control their bodies and brain. You have Joel, the sad, burdened father who lost his daughter, and you have Ellie, a young girl who happens to be immune. Joel does his best to protect her throughout the game, and together you two go on a journey. There are laughs, there are struggles, there are moments of conflicts and despair, but Joel and Ellie always seem to come out on top. So imagine how vastly disappointed everyone was when The Last of Us 2 leaked footage and storyline was leaked on the internet. It was full of wokeness, social justice, political correctness, and downright garbage writing. The Last of Us 2 is a complete and utter disaster. Here we are. Headline: The Last of Us Part 2 leaked footage surfaces and is filled with SJW antics. Spoilers. Now, there is going to be spoilers in this video, and I think that it's actually a good idea for you guys to listen. Even if you were looking forward to the game, I'm going to warn you right now, these spoilers basically show you that the game is not worth buying. I'm vastly disappointed by these leaks. I'm disappointed by the footage. I'm actually very angry. There's a lot of things I have criticism with. You know, ever since I heard that Ellie being a lesbian was shoehorned into the story by some sort of crazy feminist writer in one of the DLCs, I knew this would happen. I knew that The Last of Us 2 would be an absolute disaster. But not even I could have predicted that it would be this bad. Now, unfortunately, I cannot show you leaked footage, but I will be explaining exactly what footage I've seen, what happens in those scenes, as well as the overall game plot. And let me tell you folks, it's very disappointing. But before we look into this story, if you're new to the channel, remember to subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications, like, comment, and share the video with others. Now, let's begin. Someone has taken to the web to leak Sony and Naughty Dog's The Last of Us Part 2 gameplay footage. To my knowledge, it was a disgruntled employee who was sick and tired of Naughty Dog. He complained that developers on the game were being forced to make a horrible game that was anti-Christian, anti-male, and anti-straight people. That the game was woke and full of all this social justice nonsense. It was very divisive. But worse than that, the developers weren't allowed to speak up. They weren't allowed to have criticism. A lot of the developers were Christians, and they did not like the fact that the main villains in The Last of Us 2 are a crazy cult of evil Christians who are bigots. Bigots against Ellie because she has a Jewish girlfriend, and bigots against trans. Oh boy, we'll get to all that. The videos in questions reveal an angry Ellie, lots of lesbian scenes, linear traveling on foot and by horse, and more. As of now, the PS4 game has no release date. And after this, I'm gonna imagine that a lot of their pre-orders are going to be cancelled. The last we've heard about The Last of Us Part 2 was from Joel's voice actor, Troy Baker, via fandom.com. Baker noted that The Last of Us 2 Part 2 can't be played with a closed mind. In other words, it's shit. You won't be able to experience the game correctly. In other words, you won't be able to buy their propaganda. Now, I've seen some of these scenes, and as you can see, they've all been removed. So, Naughty Dog is fighting very hard to take down all of these scenes that were leaked with copyright strikes and copyright notices. That's the main reason that I cannot show you this footage, as it would put my channel in jeopardy. But last time I checked, this is America, and we have freedom of speech. So in one of the scenes, Ellie confronts Joel and says, "When we left the Fireflies, you told me that they had said there were dozens of others." So they retconned the past a little bit. They made it so where Joel directly lied to Ellie and told her that the Fireflies had other immune people, and that he's basically just lying to her. He's acting completely out of character. You know, he looks older, and it just doesn't feel the same. It feels like a completely different character, to be honest. He's just straight up lying and manipulating. And Ellie is painted as some sort of victim of all this. Now, I honestly wish that I had had the option, because I don't actually know how it works, because in Last of Us 1, I made the choice to save Ellie, and now I wish I didn't. I wish they let you harvest her, make a cure, and then end the game, because that would have been a way better ending than what is in these leaks. The second leaked video that hit the web is pure degeneracy, which shows Ellie and Dinah, her Jewish girlfriend, attempting to get straight to scissoring before others walk in on them. Now, I always thought it was really weird that not only was Ellie lesbian out of nowhere, that all of a sudden she had like a Jewish girlfriend. Jewish people are only 2% of the population. I get the very strong feeling that one of the developers or writers for Naughty Dog, well, I think they had their own agendas. I think they wanted to push their ideological views in the game, and I think they wanted to ruin everything with fan fiction nonsense. In The Last of Us 1, I never saw a single indication that Ellie was gay. Not once. Not once did it ever seem like that in the entire game. As far as I knew, she was an innocent, regular girl. And I chose to save her, thinking she would have children who happened to be immune to the fungus infection. But no, because you want to be woke, because you want to push all this nonsense in your video games so that you can hit children and men and women everywhere with propaganda. Scissoring scenes, I guess, because yeah, that's so progressive, so woke, so brave, so stunning and brave. More like annoying. More like ruins the story. No, I don't care if I care in this instance, because Ellie needs to have kids. That is maybe the only way that anyone will become immune. Do they ever explore this? Do they even use it as a plot point? Like, okay, maybe Ellie is interested in other girls. Sure, put that in the story, but also put that she knows that her best way to spread her immunity is to have children. Because, you know, straight people are bad, reproduction is bad, she's a strong, empowered feminist woman, and clearly, she can't have a kid because having a kid is a patriarchy. That's basically where they went with this. The third video reveals more lesbian gestures, while showing Ellie is becoming like Joel, by thinking that she'll never die when going out on designated/dire missions. Now, this one's the worst one, folks. Now, I want you guys to be prepared for this, because it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. I'll show you a few cutscenes. So the last video shows Joel dying. He dies. They kill him off. No respect to his character. They kill him in cold blood. And who is he killed by? Well, wouldn't you know it? He's brutally murdered with a golf club by a female-to-male trans person. You can't make this shit up. I'm not joking. It's not a joke. It's not a lie. It's not an exaggeration. This is literally what happens. Somehow, a trans female-to-male person overpowers Joel, a grown man who's physically fit, and then beats him to death with a golf club in front of Ellie. And why did he do this? Well, because in The Last of Us game, there is a surgeon, some sort of doctor guy, who stands in your way. And he blocks the door so that you can't rescue Ellie, and you literally have no choice but to kill him. But oh, this female-to-male trans person? That was his son, and now they want revenge. That's the plot line. That is the brilliant plot line they came up with. Now let me ask you something, folks. Never mind Ellie being lesbian. Never mind having a Jewish girlfriend. Again, I don't understand why. And never mind all that. How in the heck, in an apocalypse, where people infected by fungus in their brains, eating other people and infecting them, how did they have access to the medical technology for gender reassignment surgery? How did they have access to hormone therapy? Because as you can see, this female-to-male trans son, I don't know, I'm sorry, I get confused with these things. They look like they've had surgery on their chest, and they look masculine. I see muscle mass, which means that he's probably on testosterone. How? It's the end of the world. There is no medicine. It's the end of the world. There are no doctors. Now, I'm going to tell you the exact plotline of the game, okay, because it's time. I think by now you're curious. The game starts in Tommy's settlement with a flashback. It's pretty chill in the beginning, until something happens that drives the story and a group of characters towards Seattle. This is where the militia group and the religious group are. However, they turn to be distractions from the real threat and main villain, Abby, the muscular woman from the trailers. She and her group kidnap Joel and Tommy. Ellie finds them and is forced to watch, as Joel is brutally murdered by Abby, beaten to a pulp with a golf stick. It is implied he is shot too, but no footage of that at the moment. Joel is buried at Tommy's settlement. Ellie, Dinah, and Jessie, the Asian girl from the E3 dance trailer, and Dina's ex-boyfriend, set out for revenge, despite Tommy warning against it. Ellie has flashbacks of her and a younger Joel through the rest of her portion of the game. Ellie kills some of Abby's friends. Then Jessie dies as well, And Dinah reveals she's pregnant. Okay, wow. So apparently Dinah is bisexual? Is that it? And then she hooks up with Ellie for no reason? I don't really understand that at all. Halfway through the game, you switch characters and you're forced to play as Abby, the woman who killed Joel. I just want to smash my own desk right now. I want to smash my own desk. I was so... Oh my god. The scene where Joel's being beaten by that club by Abby is so infuriating. It's so infuriating. It almost made me lose my mind. And I'm about to lose my mind right now. They force you to play with Abby, the woman who killed Joel. You know what? Screw Abby. Screw this game. And you know, I feel sorry for all of the developers who had to work on this piece of garbage. I've heard that over 70% of the senior developers have already left because they're so sickened by what's in this game. The rest of the game, she is accompanied by Lev, the bald Asian kid with a bow, and they basically retcon the story to make you feel bad for her and see Joel and Ellie as the villains. Totally the villains. Ellie was gonna be murdered by the frickin' doctors, but Joel's the bad guy because he's a straight white male. Are you starting to see the message here, the woke message? Straight people bad, men bad, religion bad, but not any religion, right? It's never a criticism of like a Middle Eastern religion or an Asian religion. No, it's always the Christians. I wonder if there's some sort of agenda there. Isn't one of the developers also Jewish? Why wasn't a Jewish person the evil cult? You know, I just have to wonder if there's any bias that's leading this crummy plot. Apparently, the surgeon Joe killed in the first game at the Firefly Hospital was Abby's father, and all the other soldiers were family of Abby's friends. Yeah, because they didn't do anything wrong. The story ultimately leads, like, they were literally gonna kill a child because there was a chance there could be a cure. And as far as we know, the Fireflies never had any success creating a cure. So it's not like Joel was completely lying either. They never had a successful operation, ever. They could have killed her for nothing. That's the main reason I saved Ellie, because there was a good chance that their science wouldn't work. So she could have children. She could have children and pass on her immunity, but no! Ellie likes girls, so she'll never have children because having children's oppressive. Ugh. Now let's brace ourselves for the ending. The story ultimately leads to a big confrontation between Abby, Ellie, Dinah, and Lev. Abby almost beats Ellie to death and slits Dina's throat, but Ellie mentions that Dina is pregnant, and Lev appeals to Abby's good nature. Abby ends up leaving Ellie and Dinah to die. Months later, Dinah and Ellie are back at Tommy's settlement. Dinah has given birth to a boy and wants to be a family with Ellie. Yeah. So, Dinah, who's not immune, has the baby, by the way, from her ex-boyfriend. But Ellie is still depressed and hell-bent on revenge. One night, she packs up weapons and puts on Joel's jacket, planning to leave in secret to hunt down Abby. She is caught by Dinah, who begs her to stay, saying, "Abby, don't forget what's more important than their family." But Ellie says she can't. Her need for revenge is greater than anything else, and she walks out as Dinah turns away and cries. What do you mean, family? Dinah's child is not Ellie's. That's not how it works. Okay, like, that they haven't figured out how to do that. They haven't figured out how to slam two clams together and create a baby clam. You know, the science isn't there. Then the epilogue starts. Abby and Lev, who has a short haircut now, are in Santa Barbara looking for remaining Fireflies. The story ends setting up a sequel with Abby and Lev as the protagonists and Ellie as the villain, leaving the players to question everything. So this is the plot, folks. It's shit. It's literal shit. Garbage. And you can tell exactly where they're going with this story. Men are bad, so let's kill Joel. Having children is oppressive, so let's make Ellie lesbian. Christians bad, so let's make the villains Christian. Let's shit all over the story and destroy the entire franchise. Oh, and by the way, the deranged lunatic villain who killed Joel with a golf club is the good guy. Subverting expectations. Well, you know what? You did subvert my expectations. I thought The Last of Us 2 would be bad. I didn't realize it would be absolute utter garbage. Oh my god. Now, I'm just going to read a few comments before finishing off this video because I think we've said what can be said. Happily Grim says, "It's amazing the lengths that large media platforms are going through to censor or remove any spoilers or information on this leak to protect their precious agenda peace game. Even on here on Reddit, not just the videos, but people simply discussing the details or having posts removed. It's very much unlike any leak I've ever seen. I can understand the copyright claim on the footage, but discussion? Really? Edits. People are reposting and discussing faster than they can put out the fire at this point. The floodgates are now open. And it's true. It's like they never heard of the Streisand effect. The more you try to censor these leaks, the more the leaks are going to circulate, the more people will find out, and the more discussion there will be. It's too late. People have seen that your video game is garbage, and people have seen that it's not worth buying, and a lot of people are upset. I am upset. I will never play the sequel. Ever. Not even if it gets ported to PC. I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to waste my time. Midnight Riddle says, these leaks are even worse than the 4chan ones from a week or two ago. This is Game of Thrones Season 8 levels of subverting expectations. The best things about these leaks is that despite the game already being announced as delayed indefinitely, there isn't a single thing that Naughty Dog can do to change it. Yeah, it's really bad. It's pretty bad. Apparently, the 4chan post is a little bit inaccurate. It says that Ellie dies in the game. She doesn't. But she will die if you fail, if you fail a cutscene, one of those action sequences. And we're going to leave off with this comment. You can't actually be serious. This is basically impossible. There's no way an interesting franchise about the ends of the earth, at the hands of effing zombie hordes, or horrible sci-fi apocalypse, has devolved into complete and utter SJW nonsense, or rather SJW themes. That's crazy, because the thing I thought I read was that the bad guys were some kind of homophobic cult. Yep, it's all real. The memes are real, folks. But there you have it. That's the game. Needless to say, I think it goes without saying, don't waste your money. Cancel your pre-orders. It's not worth it. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. I think this is yet another example of the SJW virus. The virus of regressive leftist ideology. The cultural Marxism that infects and infects and infects. So many people are being indoctrinated by the media, by Hollywood, by higher education, rabid SJWs, and then they go out, they get hired by these companies like Naughty Dog, and they completely and utterly ruin your favorite franchises and destroy everything around them. All because they are a cult, they are insane, they want to spread their propaganda. But let me know what you think about all this down in the comment section. As always, if you want to support this content that I make, join me on Patreon or Subscribestar. If you want to donate, there's DonorBox, there's Bitcoin. All links and addresses are down below in the description. One of the best things you can do is simply to share the video. If you like the video, consider giving it a share. Thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.
A while back, you may have heard me express an interest in reviewing The Last of Us. Of course, by the time I was ready to make that review, there was no longer any point in doing so. The Last of Us is being regarded by many as the defining game of this generation, and almost every review out there will tell you the same thing. You need to play The Last of Us. What I find these reviews don't tell you, however, is how the reviewer actually felt about the game.